My name is Don Groff. I teach at Woodbine, Iowa. I have been teaching for 29 years. This is my 29th year. And I teach 5th and 6th science. I'm primarily a 5th grade teacher. I also teach 5th grade reading, art, handwriting, spelling, and I have a 5th and 6th grade computer club after school. What we're trying to do is to show the students the parts of the airplane, and we also are using Cessna CD-ROMs that have quizzes on them, and we're showing them how a plane flies in hopes that we can generate interest in flying. Because within the next 10 to 15 years, a lot of the pilots are going to be required to be retiring because of age limit. And we would like to get students to get an interest in flying. That's why I'm doing it. My main goal is to generate interest in wanting to fly and to learning about it. The main objectives is to learn the 6 parts of the plane and to do a flight pattern, what you saw at the end where we go out and we fly out of Eppley Airfield and come back in using the 6 main instruments on the plane. So there are about 12 things that I want them to know. I will assess the students by a test at the end of the 2 weeks of doing the unit. I also assess them by the questions that you saw that I was asking. A lot of those came from CD-ROMs we had the day before, and I want to see which ones remember it. Also, with the Cessna CD-ROMs, it has quizzes at the end, and I have the kids write in their science notebook where they think these parts are. Then when you click it, it comes up with the final answer. And I can go back and see by looking at their science notebooks whether they had a good idea of where the parts of the plane were and where the or how the plane functions. And I can do that pretty easily. This is a 2-week course. It'll take 2 weeks to do with the CD-ROMs and coming off the internet. And then it'll take the rest of the year probably as I plot in all 31 of those students to get a good half hour on the flight simulator. So it'll take the whole year, but that won't be in class time. That'll be either before or noon hour or after school where I plot them in to get on the simulator. So the exact time for the rest of them getting on it I couldn't tell you, but the teaching part will take 2 weeks. The reason I was choosing it is I think it's a good motivator. Kids want to learn how to fly. They like and they like the hands-on of using the simulator. And I think that'll generate most of my interest I don't have to do a lot to generate interest. I probably will have more trouble keeping them off of it than getting them on it. And the use of the technology made it a lot easier for me to do it because I'm not an expert. I can then rely on the CD-ROMs and what NASA's put up to do it. I just kind of show them where it's at. Teacher knowledge, a lot of times I think that when you're teaching, you learn with the students. On this program that I'm doing, this one that you saw up here, do I know how to fly a plane? No, I don't. Could I? I would say yes. If I got in a plane, I could fly it. And I'm hoping that the students learn a little bit about that so that they would know how. And so, I think as a teacher, you learn sometimes as you go. This unit will be better for me next year than it is this year because I can see what I'm doing wrong and I will change my lesson plans accordingly. The students that I have in there, some of the students that I was asking questions for are special needs students, and they were answering some of those questions. And their grade level may be a lot lower than 5th grade, but as you notice, they were answering some of those questions right. Part of that is because they can see it on the big screen and hear it. And they may not be able to write down. In science, you get all students, all types of students. Sometimes in math and reading, you take people out that can't handle certain areas, but in science, you put them in there. And this way of teaching by using the big screen and by asking questions, I think some of those students gain a pretty good confidence of themselves.